This video is designed for people who are 30 years old and younger. Okay, so it doesn't mean that you can't watch if you're older than 30, but it's designed for them. And I'm gonna say a few things straight out of the gate. It's probably gonna offend you and you're probably gonna turn it off. So I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm gonna make a list of things really quickly in less than a minute and you make your choice, okay? Number one, YouTube used to be a beautiful place. We were talking behind the cameras and I could just sit down here and just talk to you. Not anymore because people want the reward instantly. That's not gonna happen. I'm gonna take my time here. This is instructional. This is good for you if you're younger than 30. Second thing I wanna say, if you're younger than 30, you're dumb. Generally speaking, we're all dumb. We make dumb choices. I've made plenty of dumb choices. And this is why I wanna help you. The whole idea of this video is to give you 5 mindsets to help you make better choices before you're 30. Boy, oh boy, I wish I had a good mentor when I was younger than 30 to make better choices. I made so many dumb choices. I think the only good choice I made was actually to get married. Everything else is just dumb. So I've got a lot of experiences on what not to do. And that's what I want to share with you. 5 mindsets on how to make better choices in your life. And I really hope you stick all the way to the end because the 5th one, this is not a clickbait. The 5th one is a really good one. But I can't just tell you the 5th one without telling you the 4 first ones because you won't understand the context. So if you're still watching and it's been a minute and a half, it means you're a really smart person. You want to get value out of this. So I really hope that I'll fulfill my promise to you and give you 5 mindsets to achieve better choices in your life. Let's go.
So it's a good day.
Okay, mindset number 1, you have to embrace self-discovery. Embrace self-discovery. What does that mean? Before you're 30, you have to find out a lot of things about yourself. You have to be willing to go into a discovery journey and find out some things that you might not like about yourself and some things that you might like about yourself. Your values, your directions, your passions. What do you want to do? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? There is a node analysis called the SWOT analysis. You know, your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. You need to learn them. As a matter of fact, I'm going to explain a little bit more about this on our Patreon community when it comes. But you just got to understand that before you're 30, you got to try everything. And you just got to embark and embrace this idea of self-discovery. You have to discover who you are. Like, I love examples about basketball. And I remember when Kobe Bryant started on the league. The first 3 years, believe me, Kobe sucked. But after that, for 20 years, he played on the league. He became one of the greatest players of all time. What happened? He matured and he found his game better. The game found him. In life, you can strive to find your rhythm or let the game come to you. Let the rhythm come to you. So first, embrace the journey of self-discovery. That's really important. That sounds a lot like the philosophy I believe called Ikigai. I wrote a book called Ikigai. It's about to be released at the end of the year. If you're watching this video, it's really close. So I'd love to encourage you to click on the link down in the description and sign up for the waiting list so you can get access to the book when it comes. You can go on my website. It's a beautiful thing. But first, embrace the journey of self-discovery. Second mindset for better decisions in your life. Hustle with purpose. Hustle with purpose. Most of you already know I have a daughter. She's 12 years old. She plays basketball just like that, and I hope she gets as good as that or better. And we train together. And recently I gave her an old expression that I used to believe and hold to. In Portuguese, obviously, I just translated it. I saw this guy using similar words, and I'm like, I'm gonna use this, which is the 3H: head, heart, and hustle. I told her, in the game of basketball, you win with your head, meaning strategies. You play with your heart, meaning like your life depends on it. Like we've had videos here on the channel, like you have to bring the A game. Play hard, don't just drag yourself. And then hustle is how you improve. No one improves on the comfortable, at this zone of comfort. No one improves when everything is comfortable. If everything is comfortable, you're not growing because growth brings discomfort. When you grow, things get out of place and you need to be comfortable with the discomfort. That's the idea. So you hustle with purpose. What's the purpose of your hustle? Going back to my daughter, for example, she's taller than most 15-year-old kids her age. She is faster than most 15-year-old kids her age. She's only 12. And she does have some skills. She's still learning how to dribble the ball properly and all that, but she's got some skills, natural skills. So I told her, we are going to hustle with purpose. I'm going to teach you some drills. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, we were doing the drill that she had 4 variations. She can, triple threat. If you play basketball, you know what that is. She could drive to one side. She could accelerate to the other side. She could spin to one side, or she could pump fake and go. There's 4 variations in one move. At the end, she was like, Dad, that's a lot to remember. And I said, you keep hustling with purpose, it'll become natural. The variations become natural. So that's mindset number 2. You got to hustle with purpose. There is no point going to the gym, for example, if you don't have a purpose well designed. Some people want to get shredded. Some people want to get big. And if you're working out to get big, but your goal is to get shredded, it's never going to happen. If you're working out to lose weight, but your goal is to get pumped up, it's never going to happen. So you have to hustle with purpose. Your hustle needs to have a purpose. If it doesn't, you're going to be frustrated and you're going to give up. Mindset number 3, and this is, we're going to break right after this. Mindset number 3, you have to practice mindfulness. Let me remind you. First one, mindset number 1, embrace the journey of self-discovery. Mindset number 2, you hustle with purpose. And number 3, practice mindfulness. I wish someone told me the power of mindfulness when I was young. I think I discovered meditation and mindfulness when I was, 35 maybe. I use a couple of apps. Headspace is one of them, Balance is another one, and Calm is another one. And it's basically guided meditation, just helping you breathe, breath work, helping you breathe and figure out the right rhythm, the right blood flow, and focusing. Meditation is all about focus. Not about emptying your mind, but it's about organizing your thoughts. It's a different thing. You have to practice mindfulness, controlling your emotions. I recently took upon the challenge of learning jiu-jitsu. So I practice jiu-jitsu 4 times a week. It takes a big chunk of my calendar. But it's interesting that when I step on the mat, I take a long time to stretch because I'm old. I'm 40 years old and I grew up playing a different sport, so I got to stretch differently. And then when I'm ready, I take about 20 minutes stretching. And then when I'm ready, I step on the mat. It's super interesting. If you could get inside my head, how jiu-jitsu calms me down. I step in and it's almost like all these voices in my head just quiet. They're like, oh, gotta do work, gotta do this. Then I come to this place of silence. It's not empty, but it's silence. And I can focus. And my attention is fully devoted to learning those moves, even under pressure. So all of the things come together. So I'll give you an example. Recently, we were practicing, and the time of, we call it roll, came, and then we just rolling with each other. And then I had one position fixed, and I'm only a white belt, so I'm still learning, but I managed to go from one position to another position and then take the guy down who was a more advanced belt. And that to me was a victory. Now, the guy was laughing because he was teaching me, but for me, that was a victory. Why? Because I managed to connect. After months doing the same thing, I managed to connect one move with the other. That is mindfulness. It's a mind game. You win with your head, you play with your heart, and you improve with the hustle. Oh, we're going really good with this. I wish I could skip to the 5th one because I'm right there. But before I go there, let me share with you the 4th one. The 4th mindset to achieve better choices in your life is this: understand the power of perception. Understand the power of perception. I have this guy that I follow on social media. You probably heard of him. His name is Myron Golden. He's a coach and he shares a bunch of life stories, and most of them are based on the Bible. It's beautiful content. And I learned a lot from him when he talks about perspective, the real perspective in life. And I'm going to give you 2 examples. Number 1, again, back to my daughter. Last game she had, they played against the number 1 team in the league. And it was clear that the girls had a big advantage over them. They were bigger, they were stronger, they were faster, and they were better. Before the game started, all of the girls on our team, they're like, man, we stand no chance. I try to hype them up, but they let that doubt creep in, and then nevertheless, they started the game, and there was a beatdown. There was like 40 points difference. But halfway through the game, my daughter, which is the only person that I can directly coach, obviously, my daughter gave up. She was dragging herself on the court. So I tapped the coach on the shoulder and said, Coach, I know I'm here. I'm very supportive, but you should sit her down. She doesn't want to play. And that's an embarrassment to the game to have a player that doesn't want to play. She's given up. She has the wrong perspective. She could be thinking these girls are way better than I am. Therefore, I'm going to learn with them. I'm going to stand on the defense. I'm going to try to figure out what they do. And I'm going to try to go through the offense. And it's good to play against players who are way better than you. That's the only way you improve, because you improve with the hustle. Same thing we do on the mat. You roll with people who are more experienced because you improve with the hustle. That is perspective. She could have said, I have a lot to learn. But she said, we already lost the game. That's perspective. Now here's a more serious one. I'm currently reading a book, rereading the book. I've recommended this book quite frequently, and I'm rereading it. It's a beautiful book called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And it's the story of this guy in the Soviet Union during the time of the war and during the concentration camps, and how he survives. And he describes the terror that it was to be transported to Auschwitz when they got there, and the gas chambers. And there was one place where there wasn't even a gas chamber. They just walked into a furnace and they just burned people alive. And it was literally random selection based on their physique. If you look well, you go that way. And if you look ill, you go that way. And this way, you're going to be dead by the end of the day. Now, that teaches you perspective. When anyone around you go like, oh man, I'm tired. You know what happened on the concentration camps? If you so much look tired, you would be taken out and thrown into the fire. If you look tired and you worked the whole day, you barely ate. He tells the stories that they had beds that were 180 centimeters high and 90 centimeters wide. It's like a single bed. And in that single bed, 9 men slept. 9. I'm not talking about 2 or 3. 9. They squeezed in, and it's cold and it's freezing, and they have frostbites in their hands, and they had pneumonia, and all of that. They slept together every single night for months on end. And somehow they found ways to smile at each other while they're taking a shower. You know, they're all shaved and all that. That, my friends, is perspective. The next time someone tells you life is hard, tell them to F up. I mean, there's no other words, but man, give them perspective, because that is the real deal. When you read something like that, and to understand that only happened 50 years ago. I'm not talking about a Bible story throwing people in the fire. This is 50 years ago, 60 years ago. It is insane. That is perspective. If you understand perspective, your life is going to be different. If you understand that, first of all, you're a miracle. You are 1 in a trillion chances. The only reason why you're alive is because you're already a miracle. If you understand that you woke up today and a lot of people didn't, you're a miracle. If you understand that when you breathe, you have air in your lungs and you have no hard time breathing, you're a miracle. If you understand that you can walk with 2 legs, you're a miracle. That takes a lot of coordination to put one foot in front of the other, my friends. It's a miracle. What happens here in the brain, it's a miracle. That is perspective. And I want to talk a little bit more about perspective when we get to our Patreon. But let's move on to the final one. My final mindset to make better choices before you're 30. Are you ready? I've been expecting this one. Consider the long-term consequences. Consider the long-term consequences. Why is that so important, Pedro? Again, I'll go back to perspective. Think about this. 5 years are going to go by, whether you like it or not. Time doesn't stop. 10 years are going to go by. whether you like it or not. Time does not stop. Time does not stop. 30 years are gonna go by. So if you're 30 now, if you're 20 now, and you think, oh, I got my whole life in front of me, you might do, or you might have 6 months. Time is gonna go by. Things are gonna happen. Shit's gonna hit the fan. What are you gonna do? The reason why I'm saying this is I had a conversation recently with a friend and I said, look, start saving. Did you know that if you save $100 every month, you could be a millionaire in 30 years? And it's like, no, I did not know that. No one tells you that. So why? Because 30 years are going to go by and you can go by getting salary after salary and paying the bills, or you can save $100 and then in 30 years time, you'll be a millionaire. It is that simple. Time goes by. Do you go by with the time? That's the question. Consider the long-term consequences. Everything you're doing now will reflect on your future. You're younger than 30. I highly recommend you find your purpose. Highly recommend you find your purpose. You know, I have conversations with many people. That's the reason I'm holding this. I wrote a book called Ikigai, Your First Step to Your Life with No Regrets. There's another book called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. And the top regret of the dying, based on the research with 4,000 people, is this: a life with no purpose. The most sold book after the Bible in the whole world is called Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. It's about having purpose in life. I have plenty of conversations, I lost the count, of people who don't know what they're called to do in their lives. They're not fulfilled. They don't know what they want to do. They just feel like life is escaping through their fingers. Why? Because they haven't found their purpose. I think I found the perfect tool. It's called the Ikigai. And that's what I'm trying to convey to people, a message that I want to convey through this book and through the course that we put together. You can go on my website and you can get access to all this. I've made a video that's right here on this card about a book called Ask It by Andy Stanley, with questions that are really important for you to make better choices. But you have to consider the long-term consequences of everything you do. You ready to get married? What are the consequences? You don't want to get married? What are the consequences? Do you want to buy a house? What are the consequences? I don't want to buy a house. What are the consequences? In 30 years' time, how is that going to affect you? Because if you don't make decisions based on the effect it's going to have in 30 years, in 30 years' time, you will regret the decisions you've made now. Do you understand that? If you don't think about 30 years in the future, you'll regret 30 years in the past. You don't want to find regret at the end of your life. All right? So I'm really appreciative of you. I know this was really heavy, but if you're younger than 30, please get this idea. I have more coming. I'm going to record a little exclusive version on Patreon, that I'm going to talk more about decisions and a few tools for each one of these mindsets that I just gave you. Each one of these mindsets have complementary tools. It's going to be on our Patreon. You just go patreon.com/PedroOnPurpose. You can find us there. You can sign up, or you can just go on our website and find all the information you want. Other than that, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. A lot of people who watch our videos are not subscribed. That'll help you to be in touch with us and get notifications when we release new videos. And if you enjoyed the video, if you found value in it, leave your comment down below. I would love to know what you thought about it. All right? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Friday.
So it's a good day. Na, 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 na.